Welcome to our addition and subtraction webinar. Add, subtract, understand. Math, let's do it right. I'm excited about this webinar because we don't typically do math webinars. We typically do a lot of phonics, centers, classroom management, literacy stuff. So I was really excited to put this webinar together because I also know we're, at that point in the year where it's, the 1st of March is today. It's that time of year where we're really shifting into a lot of equations and adding and subtracting, those kinds of skills. And so I thought, oh, this is perfect, and hopefully this will give you lots of great ideas that you can use in your classroom. We'll make addition and subtraction a little bit easier and more fun, because guess what, as we also head into the spring, kids need to have some more fun, right? It gets a little bit harder to keep the kids engaged and focused, and so hopefully this will help. So as always, thank you for joining us for our webinar. Housekeeping things: close all of your browser windows except this one, of course. That just frees up resources on your computer, makes things run better. For audio video issues, hit the refresh button. Hopefully that will fix it. And you are getting a certificate as well as a freebie, as well as some special offers in today's webinar. Those will all appear in the webinar towards the end of the webinar. So think like 40-ish minutes towards the end. So be watching for those links because they will pop up, they will display during the webinar. You also receive an email following the webinar with all of the links, but make sure you're watching for them during the webinar so you don't miss them. All right, so let's do this. In this webinar, we're talking about adding and subtracting. I'm going to talk to you about the research, what the research is telling us about math and adding and subtracting. I'm going to show you lots of classroom tested strategies and activities for addition and subtraction, and show you some of the curriculum resources that we use. Listen, y'all know me, and if you're new here, welcome. What you're going to learn is that I'm all about do it. I'm all about PD, where you literally get a notebook full of ideas that you can take back to your classroom tomorrow. That's what this webinar is all about. I'm not getting into the brain research and the science and the how it works and why subtraction and why it. No. We can get into all that. That's all important. We need to understand that. But this is all about what can I do in my classroom the next day. So that's what this is. I'm just going to give you my favorite ideas, activities, games to play to help your kids with addition and subtraction. But I always like to show the research, because what we do in our classroom is best practice. It is supported by science. It is supported by the research. Yes, a lot of it's fun. You're going to see some really silly stuff, some hopefully things you're like, oh, that's cute. Lots of fun stuff. Guess what? It's all backed by science, the science of learning. It's backed by research. So just because it's cute doesn't mean that it's not research-based. So first thing I want to talk about, the science of math. Here's the thing. Just like with the science of reading, we're really starting to understand now how the brain works when it comes to learning math. Guess what? This is not going to shock any of us, especially those of us in early childhood. Our kids, just like with reading and math, they need explicit, structured, systematic instruction. Shocker, right? What the research is telling us that our kids need in math is modeling. They need step-by-step explanations led by us with dialogue. And I know that's very different than what a lot of us are seeing in our curriculums and in our classrooms. But the research is telling us best practice for early childhood math to build those math foundational skills that our kids need, like addition and subtraction, is step-by-step modeling, explanations, and dialogue. I think the dialogue is the key part there. Like, yeah, we're going to model it. We're going to teach them how to do it explicitly, but we're going to be talking about it. And the kids are going to be talking about it. That's a big part of this. Practice. Kids need to practice on their own. They also need guided practice. Guess where that leads us? Right here. And I know this went out of favor for a little while. People are like, oh, that's controversial, because everybody was talking about tasks and, problem solving. Guess what? They need to do tasks and they need to solve problems, but they can't do tasks and they can't solve problems until they know how to do the skills. So once we've given them that explicit systematic instruction, we've modeled it, they've practiced it, then we can start doing those tasks, right? Those deeper thinking tasks. So I'm going to model. We do the guided practice. You do. And guess what? If we get to the you do and we're seeing we're not getting it, we're going to go back to the we do. And then we'll go back to the you do. So this is a fluid thing. It's not I do it, we do it, you do it, boom. Now listen, I know that's how some pacing guides are laid out, but this should be a fluid thing. And back to the feedback and dialogue. So when I'm doing it, when we're doing it, when you're doing it, we should still be talking about it, okay? This is some specific research around addition and subtraction. With addition and subtraction, you need to start hands-on, concrete experiences first. I'll show you some of those. Then you start to move a little more abstract pictures. Then you go abstract with symbols, equations. So hands-on concrete, we're literally just doing and talking. They may not see a number, right? They may not see an equation or a number sentence. Then we move to pictures. We can also start to introduce some of those numbers, equations, right? But we're really still kind of focused on that concrete. Then we get to equations, symbols, right? Same with addition and subtraction. And they also need to understand that these are reverse actions. You can put together, you can take apart, right? So especially once we get to this point in the year, we're really kind of mixing the two so they can see how they are kind of opposites. Subitizing, this is something we work on all year. Here's why subitizing is so important. Because it supports addition and subtraction fluency. Now, addition and subtraction fluency doesn't necessarily mean I can do 100 equations in a minute. What this means is that they can look at 6 plus 1 and say 7. They don't have to count, right? They don't have to count on. They don't have to use their manipulatives. Or if they have pictures and it's 6 pictures in one picture, they can subitize. They can see, oh, that's 6, that's 1, and put them together. That's why that subitizing is so important, because it really helps with the fluency and it frees up that cognitive load so they can focus on the actual addition part, not necessarily the counting pieces. Multiple representations, manipulatives, drawings, story problems, number sentences. We'll see all of those in today's webinar. And this one, productive struggle is important. They need think time. We need to be asking guided questions. But we don't want to let them struggle too much, right? Because then they get frustrated and give up. So that productive struggle is good. We're going to ask them guided questions and give them think time, but we're going to be there supporting them so they don't get frustrated. Early math skills develop through frequent, varied, and meaningful practice. Frequent, varied, meaningful, not one and done. Guess what you're going to see today? Varied, meaningful practice, not one and done. Repetition. You'll see, guess what we're doing? We're just repeating addition and subtraction in lots of different ways. Research emphasizes that young children need explicit, systematic math instruction with plenty of guided practice and discussion, just like effective reading instruction. So if we're doing it for reading, we're doing it for math. And this one blows me away, and I have talked about this for years, and I wish we would put the emphasis on math that we do on reading in our classrooms and in our schools and in our curriculums and in our PD, all of the above. Multiple studies show that early math skills are more predictive of later academic success than early reading skills. They're both powerful, and we need to focus on both of them. So that's a lot of the research. I'm kind of very brief. We're not getting into the research weeds, but that gives you an idea of what my math instruction is rooted in the classroom. Math, we love to kick off our math units, our math lessons with read alouds. It's a great way, guess what? Story problems, picture representations. It's a great way to act stuff out when it comes to addition and subtraction. It also introduces some great vocabulary. It's just a great way to get the kids hooked and excited at the beginning of a lesson or a unit. So these are some of our favorites. Quack and Count. You'll see an example of a lesson from there. Animal Adding Adventure, What's New at the Zoo. 1 is a snail, 10 is a crab is a good one. Animals on Board, you can count the animals on the train. Pete the Cat and his 4 groovy buttons. Great for subtracting, all right? But my favorite, and the one that always the kids love the most, is 10 sly piranhas. Because guess what the piranhas get to do? They eat the fish. What better way to teach subtraction than piranhas eating fish? Guess what the lesson is for that? Goldfish. We're the piranhas, we're going to eat the goldfish. Perfect. And guess what? We can even incorporate some science, right? Prey and predator, carnivores, right? So there we go. Just a couple of our favorite read alouds for addition and subtraction. All right, here we go. Like I said, this webinar is all about ideas, games, activities, lessons that you can do tomorrow. So let's get right into these. Remember, the research says when you first introduce addition and subtraction, it's concrete. Very, very concrete. Guess what? In my district for the last 10 years, we have introduced addition and subtraction in the first 9 weeks. And every year when I post a video of this happening in our classroom, people freak out about this. Number one, it's not my choice. I'm not in charge. I'm not powerful. I'm just showing up to teach my kids every day. People freak out by this. And I freaked out when they first made this shift all those years ago. But guess what? It works. Guess what? We introduce it in a very simple, concrete way. And then we remember it's not one and done. We're going to do it all year long, right? That repetition. So how do we start? Day 1 of addition, right here with our fingers. I literally say, show me 2 fingers, show me 1 finger. Put them together. How many fingers do we have? That's it. Literally, it's a 10-minute lesson. That's the very first introduction to addition. You know what we do when it comes time to subtraction later? Show me 3 fingers. Take 1 away. How do you have left? Boom. Simple, concrete, effective. They understand, oh, putting together, I'm getting more. How many are there, right? They understand taking away, right? So that's it. It's that concrete. That's what we're talking about with that concrete introduction. All right, here is what this sounds like in our classroom. Everybody say add. So you're going to learn how to add. There's the dialogue. So how do we add? That's it. It's so yeah. So how do you add? So if we're going to add, we have to and then you're going to count to find the answer. So we're going to add. When we add, what do we do? We're going to add. All right. So if I have 1 finger, you're just watching. Keep your hands in your lap. Have some hands in your lap. 1 plus 2. Okay. Now I'm going to add. And how do we add? And how do we find the answer? So let's count. So 1 plus 2 equals? Look at that. You can add. Boom. They added. They got it, right? Well done. How do we add? And all right. So now you have to know how to count so you can add. What are we learning? How to add. That's right. All right. 3. Have to go 3 plus 2. Hold on. Go until everybody gets 3 and 2. And how do we add? And everybody count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3 plus 2 equals? That's easy, right? And they caught on just like that, right? Because it's very concrete. They can see it. And you saw the dialogue. Like you heard that dialogue. We're talking. They're learning the vocabulary. We're repeating, right? And then I don't know if you caught it, but I said, now you know why it's important to count because it helps you add. So we're connecting those skills as well. All right. Then we're going to keep going with these very concrete ways to introduce and practice addition. So this is get on my boat. We do get on my boat, get off my boat. Hands down, if you take nothing else from this webinar, please bring these back into your classroom because they are fun and they are highly effective ways to work with addition and subtraction. So you make a boat, it can be tape. You can buy, someone gifted me a boat rug. Literally, it's a rug. Sorry, not a rug, a blanket. It's like a boat blanket that we use. Just make a boat. All right. For Get on My Boat, the way it works is I have my friends on the boat, and then you can see Anderson back here, and he's swimming. So I've got my kids on the boat, and I've got swimmers. So we'll have 3 kids on a boat and a swimmer. So Anderson is swimming around the boat, and I'll yell, shark, or I might yell, pirates. And the swimmers have to jump on the boat. Because how do we add? Put together. And then we can say 3 plus 1 equals 4. That's Get on My Boat. And we'll see Get off my boat here in a little while. So here it is. Today we're going to learn how to add. Nelson, what are we learning? Add. We're going to learn how to add. And you add? Costume for it. It was actually Pirate Day, so it worked out. How do you add? I put it together. This is Pirate Day. We're going to learn to add by getting on my boat. Whoa! Misai, get on my boat. Hagen, swim. Jacob, swim. How many people are on my boat?
4.
How many swimmers do I have?
2.
Pirates!
6.
So let's see. Aquila says 6. Rain, honey.
5.
So how can we find out? How can we find out? Here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So 4 and 2 is?
6.
And Cece, what did we do?
Adding.
What? Thank you, Lyric. Cece, what are we doing?
Adding.
And how do we add?
Put it together.
Or?
Joy.
All right, so I want to point something out in this lesson. What you didn't hear me do was say 4 plus 2 equals 6, right? This is something that our curriculum started doing, and I embraced it because I liked it. I said 4 and 2 is 6, right? We didn't even introduce that equation yet, right? 4 and 2 is 6. Then I don't know if you heard them say we add by putting together or join. That vocabulary came right out of our curriculum, so I now use both, right? Add means put together or join, all right? Next, Quack and Count, straight from the book. So we read the book Quack and Count, and then we bring the story to life, all right? Now, this is why math is important, y'all. This is such a good story. It's such a great lesson, like the importance of math in our lives. I thought, okay, we're going to read Quack and Count. We're going to add ducks. And typically when we do this lesson is the kids are the ducks, and they stand on, 2 ducks over here, 2 ducks over here. We get in the middle. Okay, here's the problem. I was like, okay, I want to set the stage, right? I'm going to get an inflatable duck. I wanted a small inflatable duck that could sit right here on the stage, kind of with the ducks on the smartboard. Well, I didn't read the direction or the dimensions on Amazon when I ordered the duck. Either that or I did read them and I just didn't understand them, which is more likely. I'm like, oh, that sounds about the right size. So instead of the small pull float duck, I got the lake size float. So it really is as big as it looks. There's no Photoshop here. It really is a gigantic duck. So we pivoted. We did Quack and Count by getting on the duck. So now the kids are actually going to climb on the duck to add. Great lesson. We're putting together. They're having fun, which means their neurons are excited, so they're learning more. And so what they have to do is when I call them up, they get on the sides of the duck. Also, it was pajama day. Jasper, you gotta pick a side, dude. You're in the middle. All right, how many are on this side?
3.
Thank you, Jacob. How many ducks on this side?
3.
How many on this side?
5.
How many on this side?
5.
All right, ducks, safely get on the duck and don't move. So notice I gave them some very explicit, get on there safely and don't move. All right, just sit down, Hagen. All right, let's count.
1.
ducks safely. Boom, that was it. And we just continue to do that, right? Then we can also move, especially later in the year, we can come back to quack and count, and we can start to move towards those more abstract and pictures, right? And story problems. So we've got concrete, right? Very concrete, but then we can take that same idea, that same concept, that same theme, and start to move towards that more abstract, right? We could do it with equations, right? So I show the equation card, they're putting the little ducks on their little pond, right? Or we're doing it with 10 frames as well. 10 frames are a great way to help our kids understand addition and subtraction. So that shows you kind of that progression of like concrete by getting on the duck, kind of moving towards that abstract with some pictures, and then, more abstract with equations. This is another fun one. This one is a later one because this one is abstract. There's no concrete here. There's no pictures here. This is a very abstract lesson. Dry erase spinner prize wheel from Amazon. One of my must-have classroom tools because you can use it for everything. And it's fun. We're going to spin the wheel. They're going to write the equations. And they're going to hold them up. So guess what I'm doing? I'm monitoring. I'm informally assessing. When I can see who needs help, and they're going to come into a small group and work on addition or subtraction in a small group.
Come on
Alexa's ready. Miriam's ready. John's ready. All right. Thank you, Danny. Write your equation, write your answer. Don't say the answer, just write it. Don't say your answer. Danny, don't say it. Brandon, use your fingers. So Brandon didn't get the answer, so I said, hey, use your fingers. There's that kind of that scaffolding and a little bit more of that we do, right? Kind of jumping in and being like, hey, try this. Very good. All right, read your equation.
2 plus 2 equals 4.
Very good, because how do we add?
Put them together and count.
How do we add?
Put them together and count.
Is it plus or minus?
Plus.
All right, Kia. All right. This is an example of a lesson that came straight right out of our curriculum. Here's the issue that I have with our curriculum. It is all slide-based. And I'm not going to get on my soapbox about screens and slides, but that doesn't work. So this lesson was a couple of slides, that's it, there was a little barn and there were some cows. And there were like 3 cows and 2 cows. And the kids, it basically was like, if the cows go in the barn, how many cows are in the barn? 3 plus 2 is 5. That was it. We did that a couple of times, and that was our high quality lesson. So what we did and what we do when we're planning is we take those slides, those lessons, and we make them concrete. We make them hands-on. We make them interactive. So we're not just staring at a screen. So we're doing exactly what the lesson wants us to. We're still doing the curriculum. We're just taking it off the screen. So that's what we did. I had this barn from a farm thing we did in my classroom a few years ago. So I brought it in, got my animals on each side. They get in the barn to add. Yadiel, you can be my turkey. Need some turkeys. Yadiel, Alana, Carmela, Daniel, Ashton. Turkeys in the house. How many turkeys on this side? 2 plus
3.
And how do we add?
Put together.
So the turkeys go in the barn. 2 plus 3 equals?
5.
So 2 plus 3 equals?
5.
How did you find out the answer?
Counting.
And how do we add?
Put it together and count.
So let's count our turkeys.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So 2 plus 3 equals?
5.
You hear that dialogue, the repetition?
And
Thank you, turkeys. Isn't that much better than just staring at a slide? So then we take the turkey addition idea to a little bit more abstract. So we made a turkey out of poster board. Don't judge my turkey. It doesn't have to be a turkey. Think about candles on a cupcake, right? Cookies in a cookie jar, which you'll see later, right? It could really be anything. So now at this point, what we're doing is we've pulled in the equations. The kids are writing and solving the equations with the picture support, right? How many? So I'm writing, the kids are writing. So there's that we do. And then I'll stop writing when we're ready and it'll be you do, right? Right. Give us some more feathers. How many? Thank you, Hachi. And then they're going to solve the equation. We'll see if we get the answer. This one I love. Actually, I love all of them. They're all so much fun. Again, this one is very abstract because it's just equations, but we're having a little bit of fun. This one is called Chasing Sheep. So what I do, we put a picture on our smartboard. That's basically what I use my smartboard for, pictures for a little background. On the balloons are the equations. So I just write the equations on white balloons. They have their recording sheet. They're going to chase the sheep. When they catch the sheep, they're going to solve the equation. All right? Today, we're going to add sheep. But in order to add the sheep, you have to catch the sheep. Here come the sheep. Ah. All right, chase your sheep. And yes, we're playing sheep noises. It's immersive, right? The more immersive the lesson, the better. And you'll see them using different strategies. You'll see some of them doing it mentally. You see Aronza using fingers. And then I can take the recording sheet, assess it, make a small group of kids who need extra support. All right. Monster Edition. So this one, I can tell you there was a whole group lesson that was more of a concrete lesson where it's a monster with Post-it notes. And then we've shifted now to the students doing it. So like Monday, for example, was the I do, we do with the poster board. Now, a little bit later in the week, it's the you do, right? And there's also some we do in here, right? So there's that kind of that fluidity, right? So first couple of days, poster board, sticky note monsters. Now, the kids are doing it a little bit more with their dry erase mat and candy corn for the monster teeth. Put your teeth in, give me an answer. So how many do you need? Now you saw Yasker did that completely mentally. The rest of the kids they're putting in the teeth and then solving the equation. They're not everyone in the class was doing what Yasker just did. You know, he kind of did it backwards. The rest of the kids are actually doing the teeth.
8 + 2
So what's our answer? And so you can see up here.
Monster
has how many teeth?
10.
And what are we doing?
Adding.
How do we add?
By putting together a line. Then count.
And is it plus or minus?
Minus.
Oh, is it plus or minus?
Plus.
Aquila, plus or minus?
Plus.
And what happens to our number?
It gets bigger.
All right, pull those teeth out. And then at the end, of course, we get to eat the candy corn. These are some of my favorites. I'm going to step over here for just a second. These are called math stackers. They look like this. So they're foam blocks. And they're sectioned off, right? So the 4 has 4 equal sections, like the 10 would have 10. So you know what these are perfect for? Addition, because they're self-checking. So when you put 5 and 3, it makes 8. So they're the perfect addition and subtraction tool. So these are called math stackers. We'll give you a link to these. So what we use them for making 10, all kinds of things, comparing numbers, missing add-ins, all the things. So this one is both, like concrete, but also abstract, because the kids are basically doing this one independently, and they're building their own equations. They're picking the math stackers, making them work, and then writing the equation. So here's what it looks like. One after you do an equation, do another one. You know what else these are good for? Reversing the equation, because our kids know 1 plus 9 is 10, right? But if we reverse that, that throws them off. So these math stackers are great for helping them understand that 10 equals 1 plus 9, 1 plus 9 equals 10, right? All right, this one's a fun one. We do this one, of course, October. Again, very early on in our addition journey. So again, very just concrete, no real equations. It's just that concrete understanding put together. Spider web. I found these sticky spider webs. They were felt years ago. I don't know. I can't remember where I found them. So I put them on plates, but I've also printed spider webs, and we're just using spider rings. And I literally say, put 3 spiders on your spider web, put 2 spiders on your spider web, and then put together and add, right? So when we put together, they move them to the middle of their spider web. Or we can start to add in some story problems, right? There are 3 spiders on the web. 2 more spiders got in the web. How many spiders are in your web? Okay. So now you're getting a little bit, we're moving from that concrete kind of to that little bit more with the story problems. And remember, the research says we want multiple ways, right? So we can do it. There are 3, there are 2. How many do you have? And then we can do story problems, right? So that's what we're getting in those multiple ways of doing subtraction. Another favorite, dominoes. These are big. They're foam dominoes. They're like this big. We'll give you a link. The kids just grab a domino, write the equation, draw the dots, and solve, right? What's fun about this is I literally just pile the dominoes in the middle of the carpet, just so the same way the math stackers were. And then the kids just get to go at it. They just go and pick and solve, right? You know what else they can do with them? They can subtract with them. So this is something that can be reversed as well. You know what these are also great for? A small group. So the kids can, if I know I have some kids who need some support, I can pull them into a small group and we can do this while the rest of the class is doing whole group. Here's another fun one. This one is really good for partners. So my kids for this activity, they work together. All I did was I took chart paper, I made 10 boxes, and I wrote the equations. And you can tell this one was just adding to 5. You could do 10. You know what else you could do with it? subtraction. So all I did was draw my 10 boxes, write the equations. The kids are using 2 different color bingo markers, and they're making the dots and then solving, right? So we've got our abstract with the equations, and then we've got our pictures to help them there, right? Another one that the kids love. We've done this one. Listen, these 2 pictures are like 13 years old, but that tells you how effective they are because I still use them and I still talk about them and I haven't taken new pictures. Pumpkin chunkin', another great fall activity. And if you don't know what pumpkin chunkin' is, you literally go throw the pumpkins. So in our classroom, we're going to do some pumpkin chunkin'. And this is the idea behind this is using a number line and counting on to add. So what we did was we put 10 pumpkins on the floor. We wrote the numbers on them. Our chunker, our pumpkin chunker, starts somewhere. They can start wherever they want. Wherever number they start on, 2. And then they get to chunk the pumpkin. And what all they're doing is jumping. And so wherever they go, we count. So she jumped from the 2 to the 5. So then we counted 1, 2, 3. So 2 plus 3 equals 5. And so it's just a way to use that number line idea for addition. Super fun. The kids love it because they get to chunk the pumpkins. Another one another thing the kids love is playing cards. Regular size playing cards, but they also love the giant playing cards. You can get a giant deck of cards, giant Uno cards. We also have a resource that's going to show up here in a few minutes. It's a dealing with math. It's using cards to do all kinds of math skills. And what we include in there are giant glitter, sparkly playing cards. Amazing. So guess what? Whole group adding or subtracting, right? Missing add-ins with playing cards, independent practice, right? And so it's a great way, again, to get those multiple ways to learn and practice addition and subtraction, but it's fun. With this one was a whole group. Somebody gets to come down and they get to be the dealer, and they come down and they deal the cards, and the rest of the kids are writing equations either on whiteboards or the recording sheets. All right, now we're going to switch gears to subtraction. Guess what? Same thing. We start with fingers. Just like you saw in that addition, it's the same thing with subtraction. We introduce it. Subtraction means take away or break apart. I think is how our curriculum uses it. But I don't like break apart so much. I like take away because I feel like they get the takeaway idea. I think it's a little more concrete for them. So I'm literally like, show me 3 fingers, take away 1 finger. How many fingers are left? That's how we introduce it. Then we can start to do some, a little bit more concrete, a little bit more abstract, because now we've got cookies, right? There are 4 cookies in the cookie jar. Mr. Greg got hungry because he loves cookies, and he ate 1 cookie. How many cookies are left in the cookie jar? So that's that concrete introduction. So we'll introduce it with fingers. We'll do our cookie jar lesson for a day or 2. And then, so I do, we do. I do, we do, you do. We do, you do. See how that works? So it's kind of like you see that progression of that gradual release model, right? So we're taking the cookie jar and we're using Cookie Crisp, right? Putting the cookies on the plate, taking the cookies away. How many cookies are left?
1, 2, 3, 4.
So how many cookies do we have?
4.
And how do we subtract?
Take away.
Thank you, Nathan. How do we subtract?
Take away.
All right. Maritza, the Cookie Monster, got hungry, and she ate 1 cookie. So how many are we going to take away?
1.
So 4 minus 1 equals?
3.
Because how many cookies do we have left? 3. So 4 minus 1 equals?
3.
And how do we subtract?
Take it away.
Thank you. How do we subtract?
Take away.
Very good. We're back to the boat. Get off my boat. So now we're going to reverse it. So we did get on my boat. Now we're going to get off my boat. So the kids are going to get on the boat, and then I'm kicking some kids off the boat. How do we subtract?
By taking away.
There's our boat. Now, I want to stop it for a second. I don't know if you caught it, but I'm holding up an equation card. So when we introduce subtraction early in the year, we do get off my boat, but it's just me talking. Just like with get on my boat. 3 kids get on my boat. 2 kids get off my boat. How many kids are left? This is later on in the year. We're still using get off my boat, but we're now shifting to that abstract. We're moving a little bit more towards that abstract. So I'm not telling them the equation. I'm showing the equation. They're writing it. Then we're solving it. How do we subtract? So 8 kids got on my boat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 get off my boat. And then how many are left? So the kids are writing it on their recording sheet, and then we talk about what the answer is. So some kids get on my boat. I kick some kids off the boat. We have our answer. This one is a lot of fun because this one is something that I love anything that I can do all year. So if I make something or if I buy something like that spinner wheel, I'm going to use it all year. So I did a donut, poster board and markers. No slides, no screens, no technology. It took me 5 minutes. Laminated it, and I put Velcro dots on. Then I made some sprinkles, put some Velcro dots on. Now I've got this great donut that I can use to add, subtract, make 10, count, greater than, less than, all the things. And we're just putting sprinkles on, taking sprinkles off. It's concrete. It's also that pictorial representation, and it can be abstract, right? So it really hits all of those. And again, it's that I do, we do, you do model. I'm going to do it, we're going to do it, and the kids are going to get some turns to do it. All right, let's see. Who can tell Mr. Greg, how do we subtract? Is it plus or minus? And yes, I'm wearing a donut shirt. And how do you know it's subtract?
Because I have the minus.
It is?
Minus.
All right, so today we're going to subtract with a donut. All right, so we're going to do some donut subtraction. Sprinkles on our donut. We like sprinkles. And then we're going to take away some sprinkles. And then we'll have our equation, okay? So let's start with an easy one to get your brains ready. All right, how many sprinkles do I have?
3.
What am I going to write? 3
Minus.
minus. So this is kind of the we do, right? This is that guided practice. Ready with it? How many did I take away?
1.
Hey, Brandon, how many did I take away?
1.
And then write your answer. And then what happens is I'll do a couple more, and then the kids get to actually come up and put the sprinkles on and take them off. And again, they're doing a recording sheet, so I can use that to assess. Now, I took this idea a little bit down a different path. Someone sent me a video on Facebook, and it was this little girl. She was doing subtraction, and she had a paper head, paper face with some hair. And to subtract, she was cutting the paper. And I was like, that is brilliant. Like, what a fun, visual, tactile way to see subtraction, right? To take away, like cutting hairs. What are the kids doing? We give them scissors. They cut their hair, right? It's a perfect way to understand subtraction because we're taking away. What better way to teach and practice subtraction than haircuts? But I was like, okay, that would be a logistical nightmare, right? To make like paper heads and paper hair, like it's like one and done, like not at all realistic for a classroom. So I was like, how can I make that classroom friendly? And I thought back to the donut. And so this is haircut subtraction. Same concept as the poster board, Velcro, and paper with the donut, but the kids get to give me a haircut. We're going to subtract. What are we doing? We haven't done this in a really long time. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to see if we know the answer. How do we subtract?
Take it away.
So how do we subtract?
Take it away.
Yeah, take away. So how do we subtract? Go
Take
figure,
it
Cubby.
away.
We are?
Take
Yeah, so if you subtract,
it away.
take away. Is it plus or minus?
Minus.
It is
Minus.
minus. So minus means you're going to give me a haircut. You're going to cut my hair? Do you really think I'm going to let you cut my hair? No. But you're going to cut my hair. That's me. All right. So again, it's just strips of paper with Velcro dots. It's the equation. All right. So read that for me. All right. So how many hairs do I need? Hey, Asani. How many hairs do I need? Count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So how many hairs do I have?
3.
Well, how do we find out?
5 minus 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right. So read your equation.
5 minus 3.
So how many hairs do I need to cut off?
3.
All right. Ready? So what's the answer?
2.
So 5 minus 3. Good. Read
Boom.
the equation.
And then same thing with the donut. The kids are actually going to get to be, they'll be coming up, putting the
Cut off my hair.
hair on, taking it off. Everybody else will be
How do you
writing.
subtract?
This one cracks me up because this randomly shows up in my required curriculum. Yes, we have a required curriculum. Yes, we use it with integrity. Random beaver subtraction. They're literally in the middle of our subtraction unit. There's a lesson about beavers. It literally, that's the slides. Like, it's like the beaver has 4 sticks and the beaver eats a stick and how many sticks are left. Beavers, like, just hilarious. So we kept the lesson. We kept the beaver theme. We made it hands-on. So the kids are the beavers and they're using pretzels as their sticks.
Minus 4. 6 minus 4.
And then, of course, on our screen, we have a beaver. We're setting the stage.
Good job, Oscar.
Beaver subtraction. So if you got nothing else out of today's webinar, you got a beaver math lesson. Who would have thought? Car subtraction. We do this one for addition as well. This is one of our Math It Up units. What I love about the car lessons is a couple of things. A, kids love the cars, right? It's a toy. They connect with the cars, and they can actually move the cars. So they're literally feeling addition and subtraction. They're seeing it, they're hearing it, and they're feeling it. And we're doing it with different representations, story problems, right? 10 frames, parking the cars in the garage, cars on the road. We can use cars. We can use pictures of cars. So that's what I love about these Math It Up adding and subtracting car units is, again, very, very concrete, very visual, but also you can really move them to some of those story problems, those different representations.
Can you read your equation for me?
5 minus 4 equals.
All right, how many cars do we need?
5.
5 cars.
So we got the we do, right? The guided practice. They've got their equation.
Good job, Lizette. Good job, Lizette. Alexa has 5.
And guess what? They've got their recording sheet. That means I get some data. Makes great for small groups. All right. These are something that we love. And what I want to point out that not every lesson has to be like a silly fun game, right? You can also just do cards, right? These are our visual number cards. They go up to 20. So we use these for equation building. We also use them for number lines, missing numbers, greater than, less than, all the number things, all the math skills. But the kids love using them to deal equations. We do them in whole group. We do them in small group. And then guess what? Then they go to centers, and the kids use them in centers as well. So the way it works is they're in the pocket chart. The kids come up. They put the equation. No answer yet. Because once they build the equation up here, the kids are writing on their board or their paper, and they have to solve it. And then our friend will put the answer. The thing to remember about subtraction is the bigger number goes first, right? And so when the kids are building this equation, they have to make sure they get it in the right order. You'll notice Aranza using some of the strategies that we've taught, right? Like, y'all celebrate when they do that. That's huge, right? That's huge.
Jay, Lyric, CC, Hagen, Copy Oscar. All right, read your equation.
6 minus 1 equals 5.
And then we can come up and add the 5 to complete the equation. So those are our visual number cards. Another one from our curriculum. Again, this was a slide. Literally, it was a slide with a bookshelf and some books. And it said, there are 6 books. If 4 books fall off, how many are left? So you know what we did? We made it real. We have our bookshelf. We have our books. We put the books on the shelf. We took the books off the shelf. And bam, we've got subtraction. So I included these, and I keep pointing these out because I want you to see how you can take your curriculum. You can adhere to the curriculum. You can use your curriculum, but make it better. All right? Pizza subtraction. We're just subtracting pizzas. I'm going to skip through these because I know we're running short on time. Again, just poster board. Writing the equation. The kids put the pizza slices on. They eat some pizza. So this is a great story problem. They've got that visual representation. They're seeing the equation, the number sentences, and we're building that foundation for addition, subtraction. Now we're chasing chickens. Yellow balloons are the chickens. Guess what? Pink balloons could be pigs. White balloons could be snowballs. Blue balloons could be clouds, right? Red could be apples. You could literally do this for anything, for any skill. Chasing chickens, you can see what it looks like. Same thing, equation on the balloon. They're writing it on the recording sheet. Look at that, using those strategies. We love that. Are you ready to chase the chicken? You hear Javier in the background yelling at his chicken, stop it! Now, inevitably, one of the chickens will pop. Inevitably, one of the kids will yell out, the chicken died! So just be ready. And then if you're like me, one year I had a little boy who, his family raised chickens, and he knew all about what happened when we ate the chickens. And when the chicken popped, he proceeds in graphic detail to tell the kids about what would happen. He's like, yeah, oh yeah, you cut its head off and it runs around for a little bit, and then you pull the feathers out and you cook it and you eat it. Traumatic for all involved, right? The kid, like, it's life. That's true. The poor kids were traumatized by the chicken. So just be ready, because the chickens will die. 2 more, and then we'll start to wrap it up. I wanted to show you this because I want to point this out. Listen, one of the things that we all do in our classroom, it has been around for decades. It's tried and true. It is a classic. It is a legacy. It's an OG, is bowling for subtraction, right? It's perfect for subtraction. You can also do it for addition or making 10. Right, we do it all the time. How can we make that better? How can we make it different? We did ghost bowling. That's toilet paper, y'all. Toilet paper. It's literally rolls of toilet paper. I just used some masking tape, stuck some ghost eyes on there, made some ghosts, and we did ghost subtraction. At Christmas, we did this bowling for subtraction or addition, I don't remember, but I used green plastic cups and an inflatable ornament. So I just threw this in here just to say, like, take something that you've done, maybe you've done it for a long time, and think about, like, how can I make it different this time around? So just something to think about. And finally, I want to share this with you. This is Math Alive from our friends at Alive Studios. I also have to give a huge shout out to our friends at Alive Studios for donating this zoo panel. This is their zoo panel to my classroom. Since I'm not in the classroom this year, I get to be a stay-at-home dad with Violet and Adeline. It's here at home, but when I go back into my classroom in the fall, it'll come with me. So we love our zoo panel. This is Math Alive. It's augmented reality technology from our friends at Alive Studios. The way this works is you put these with the software in a document camera, you put the number cards under the camera, and up here, the animals pop up in 3D. So when you put down 6, the giraffes pop up. And then when you subtract, the animals, watch. I'm not going to tell you. Watch. All right, Amira, show us. Somebody's here. Sorry, y'all. Real life. Okay, watch. So she's coming up to find the answer. So the equation is 6 minus 5. So she's going to find the answer. She's going to put the number 1 card. Watch.
1 giraffe. Perfect. 6 giraffes minus giraffes equals 1.
All right, read it. Okay, did you catch what happened? The giraffes exploded, y'all. What better way? Cutting hair and exploding animals. You're not going to have, your kids are, there's nothing better to teach subtraction. Your kids are going to always remember subtract means take away because the animals exploded. So we love this piece of technology in our classroom. You can check it out at Alive Studios, zoo.com. There you go. Killed the chickens, exploded the giraffes, gave a haircut. Sounds like a pretty good webinar for me. All right, as always, as part of our webinars, we like to offer you a very special webinar, exclusive only special. These are good for 2 hours. So you want to get these now, take advantage of these. So the first one that we have is our addition and subtraction units. So these are our Math It Up addition and subtraction units. We have our adding and subtracting cars and get on my boat and get off my boat. So we actually have an entire unit that goes with get on my boat, get off my boat, which has the whole group lessons, independent practice, centers, small group stuff. These are great. The cars have all the things that you saw in the lesson. So these are 4 math units, regular price $20. You're going to get them for $9.99 as our webinar exclusive special offer. And that gives you like a whole year's worth of curriculum resources for addition and subtraction. We also have some addition and subtraction center activities, great for centers, small groups, whole groups, early finishers. 42 total activities in these 4 resources. Regular price $24. You're going to get it for $12.99. Listen. Got to tell you about this one. There's the dealing with math. Remember we talked about that one, so you get that one. This one, Call Me Maybe. This is a really, really good one. Highly recommend you get this bundle so you can get this. What this is they're cell phones. So what I just used a cell phone theme. There are color and black line. They're sparkly. Some of them, there are sets with just equations. 4 plus 3 equals, right? Then for a challenging, like deep dive into addition and subtraction, there are letters. So it'll say A plus F. So then what the kids have to do is they have to look at the phone keypad, find A, 2 plus F, 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. So it's a really challenging activity. So it has regular equations and then it has those challenge activities. So you get all 42 of those, including some donut fun, swatting flies. The kids love these. These are in black line. And if you print them on neon cardstock, they glow under a black light. So they're perfect for glow day. Look at that. You get all kinds of great stuff. You get a whole year, a whole year of math and subtraction curriculum for $9.99. 42 activities, different center activities for your centers, your small groups, your early finishers. got some challenging activities, you got some donuts, you got some giant sparkly playing cards, and some glow-in-the-dark flies. What more could you need? And of course, we always love to offer you a freebie as our way of saying thank you for being at the webinar. And so this is your freebie. It's fuzzy subtraction. They're just subtraction puzzles. Print them. They're great for centers, small groups. So there is your freebie. So enjoy that. They work great in a pocket chart. And again, as a reminder, here are your webinar exclusive special offers. And again, these are just for webinar attendees, and they're good for 2 hours. Addition and subtraction units, you're going to get Math It Up, add and subtract cars. Math It Up, get on my boat, get off my boat, regular price $20. You're going to get them for $9.99. And our addition and subtraction center activities, 42 total activities, regular $24. You're going to get it for $12.99. So take advantage of those special offers. And I want to wrap it up with this. What we're seeing now, and what the research and what the science is really seeing and telling us right now, is that our kids aren't practicing enough and they're not getting enough review. Remember back at the beginning of the webinar, the research says this is not one and done. This is a constant process. Review, practice. Review, practice. Make sure, and you kind of saw that, right? Like you could see basically we are doing addition and subtraction all year long because we need to review and we need to practice. We need to review and we need to practice, because if we don't review and if we don't practice, we forget. 70 to 80% of what we learned, we forget it in 24 hours. That's why this is important. So make sure that you are reviewing. I'm trying not to sneeze, y'all. Make sure that we are reviewing and practicing, and have fun, right? Make it fun, make it engaging, make it hands-on, make it silly, because here's what's happening. When the kids are having fun, their stress level's down, their dopamine is up, their neurons are excited. It's easier for them to learn. So have some fun. Thank you all so much for joining us for this webinar. I hope that you are going to take some of these ideas into your classroom. Haircuts, exploding animals, and dead chickens. What more could you need, right? So thank you so much. Check out all of our websites for more ideas, resources, and strategies. Have a great one, and we'll see you all at our next webinar. Thank you, everybody.